Welcome to another episode of Tutorials with IT. You're going to be looking at 2022's past questions, Principles of Leadership, yes. And there are actually 40 questions for Section A. So you're going to start with Section A. Then in the next video, we'll look at Section B. So yes, so there are 40 questions like I said. So let's start with the first question. So the first question says, leadership is about tactical thinking and planning, and management is about strategic thinking. So you have true or false. So yes, for this one, the answer is false. Leadership is not about tactical thinking and planning. It's management that's rather about tactical thinking and planning. So they've interchanged them. Leadership is rather about strategic thinking. So yes, so the correct answer is false for number one. Now let's move on to number two. So number two says, what does traits mean in leadership theory? What does traits mean in leadership theory? So you have a list of the things that make leaders likable to everyone else. B, a list of the key things that a leader should do to be great. C, the list of key behaviors a leader exhibits in certain situations. Then D, a list of key characteristics that make a leader great. So the correct answer is D, a list of key characteristics that make a leader great. So anytime you hear of traits, there are things that make a leader great. So the particular qualities they possess or the characteristics of them that make them great. So yes, so the answer is D. That's for number two. So let's go to number three. Number three says, a leader is trusted to the degree that followers believe in his ability, commitment, and integrity. And we have A, true, B, false. So the answer is true. If you're a leader, obviously people trust you. They believe in what you're able to do, your ability, your commitment, and everything. That's why they choose you as a leader. So the answer is true, A. Now let's move on to number four. Number four says, the willingness of one party to be vulnerable to another party based on the belief that the latter party is competent, open, concerned, and reliable is referred to as A, integrity, B, values, C, trust, D, benevolence. So the answer is trust. Yes, so because you see the willingness of one party to be vulnerable to another party. Once you trust someone, you're obviously vulnerable to them. Do you get it? If you sit in a taxi, you're obviously entrusting your life in the driver's hands. So you trust him. That's why you enter this car. You get it. So obviously you are going to be vulnerable to the other party, which makes the answer C. So trust. Now let's move on to number five. Number five says the willingness to protect and save face for another person is a dimension of trust, otherwise known as A, openness, B, consistency, C, integrity, D, loyalty. So the correct answer is D, loyalty. Once you are willing to protect someone, it means you are loyal to the person. You get it? So the answer is D, loyalty. Let's move on to number six. Number six says the ability to induce a person to do something he or she would not have otherwise done is referred to as A, authority, B, legitimacy, C, charisma, D, power. So the correct answer is D, power. If you're able to influence someone or to induce someone to do something that they wouldn't have done, it means you have power over them. You get it? So the correct answer is D, power. Now let's move on to number seven. Number seven says the power of charisma is the influence that is generated by a leader's style or persona. So you have A, true, B, false. So the correct answer is A, true. When we talk about charisma, it's about your persona or your style or what makes people like you. Do you get it? So the correct answer is A, true. Now we move on to number eight. So number eight says one of these is not a personal type of power. A, referent, B, reward, C, connection, D, information. So the correct answer is B, reward. Reward is under positional power. So there are two types of power. We have the personal and the positional. So reference falls under personal, connection to falls under personal, as well as information also falls under personal, but reward falls under positional power. So the reward here we are talking about is being able to give other employees promotions and all that, and that one falls under positional power, not personal. Now you need to have the position before you can do that. So yes, the answer is B, reward power. Now let's move on to number nine. Number nine says legitimate power is a type of personal power. A, true, B, false. Legitimate power is not a type of personal power. It's a type of positional power. So the answer is false. Okay, so that's it for number nine. Now let's move on to number 10. Number 10 says trait theory has been summarized by Thomas Carlyle as the history of the world is but the biography of great men. A, true, B, false. So the answer is false. Yes, he did summarize it, but then this was under the great man theory. The question says trait theory has been summarized by Thomas Carlyle as the history of the world is but the biography of great men. This was under the great man theory. He summarized the great man theory as this, not the trait theory. So the answer is false, B. Yeah, so that's it for number 10. Now let's move on to number 11. So number 11 says According to one of these scholars, great men are not born but made by society. So we have A. Herbert Spencer, B. Mahatma Gandhi, C. Thomas Carlyle, then D. Nelson Mandela. So the answer is Herbert Spencer. He said that great men are not born but made by society. So the answer is A. Herbert Spencer. Mahatma Gandhi did not say that. Neither did Thomas Carlyle say that. Neither did Nelson Mandela say that. So the answer is A. Herbert Spencer. So that's it for number 11. Now let's move on to number 12. Number 12 says the leadership theory that focuses on personality characteristics of a leader is known as behavioral theory. That's for A. Then B. Trait theory. C. Managerial grade. And D. Contingency. So this one, the answer is trait theories. It's a trait theories that talks about the personality characteristics of a leader. Yes, so the answer is trait theory. Okay, let's move on to number 13. Number 13 says the Balance and Compromise Leadership Style by Robert R. Blake and Jane Mouton is also known as A. Country Club, B. Contribute and Commit, C. Impoverish, D. Status Quo. So this one is status quo, and you can find it in the slides. Yeah, so the status quo type of leadership says that you should focus both on people and production as well, but not giving your full to them. Like little to people, little to production as well. The A is country club. Country club is not the same as balance and compromise. Country club is the same as accommodating. So for country club, you're going to focus more on the people and less on production. That's what country club is. Also the same as accommodating. Then B says contribute and commit. Contribute and commit is the same as sound or sound leadership. So for that one, I'm going to focus both on people and production. So you're going to give 50% to people, 50% to production. So I'm going to give your all to them. But the status quo, you're going to give little to people and little to production. So that's the difference. Then the C says impoverished. Impoverished is the same as indifferent. So for that one, you're not focusing on people or production. You're like low on both of them. You don't focus anywhere. So yes, that's the C. So the correct answer is the status quo, which is the same as balance and compromise. Yes. So that's it for number 13. Now let's move on to number 14. Number 14 says, which theory postulates that effective leaders are those whose personal traits match the needs of the situation in which they find themselves? A. Managerial grade. B. Trait. C. Contingency. D. Pygmalion. So the answer is contingency. So the contingency theory just says it depends on the situation you're in. So once you see anything like situation or any other thing, it's contingency. You get it? So the answer is C. Now let's move on to number 15. Number 15 says the leadership style with high concern for people and low concern for production would have the following impact on employees. A. Dissatisfied employees. B. Grumbling employees. C. Happy employees. D. High turnover employees. So this one, the answer is happy employees, because once you are going to focus a lot on the people, obviously they are going to be happy. Do you get it? They don't really care about the production. So far as you are focusing or you are giving your attention to them, they're obviously going to be happy. So the answer is C. Yeah, so that's it for number 15. Now let's move on to number 16. So number 16 says the horizontal effect states that as a leader holds positive expectation about team members, that expectation actually leads to better team performance. A, true. B, false. Yeah, so this one, the answer is A, which is true. So it's also called the Pygmalion theory, and it says that once you hold positive expectation about your team members, that expectation is going to lead to better team performance. Yes. So it's the same as the Pygmalion theory. So if you don't see the Pygmalion theory, you see the horizontal effect and vice versa. Okay, so that's it for number 16. Now let's go to number 17. So number 17 says one of these leadership styles produce short-lived high performance by subordinates. A. Dictatorial leadership style. B. Country club leadership style. C. Impoverished leadership style. D. Sound leadership style. So this one, the answer is A, dictatorial leadership style. So for this one, I'm going to focus on the production. I'm going to be very strict on them, but I'm not really going to care about the people. Do you get it? And then when you do that, what you're going to do is that, performance is going to be good for a short time, but then as time goes, some people will feel less motivated and everything. So at the end of the day, it's going to be short-lived. So that's the short-lived you see in the question. So the answer is A, dictatorial leadership style. Yeah, so that's it for number 17. Now let's move on to number 18. So number 18 says, for Ohio State leadership studies, the perfect leaders A combines a focus on the task and the employee. B focuses on the task and getting things done. C inspires workers to aim higher and achieve more. D is concerned about the small details and how to increase productivity. Okay, so the answer is A. For Ohio State leadership, they are saying that you should focus both on the people and production. You get it? You have to balance it. Don't do too much of this. Don't do too much of that. Meaning that you are perfect. You get it? You are all around. So that's A. which says combines a focus on the task and the employee. Yes, so that's it for number 18. Now we move on to number 19. Number 19 says contingency theory is based on assumption that the ideal leader A shapes their leadership style depending on situations. B provides clear instructions to their followers so that they know what they are doing. C knows what their strengths are and makes the most out of them. D spends time with their followers and therefore listens and responds to their need. So this one, the correct answer is A. Once you hear contingency theory, just put it in your mind that it depends on the situation. It depends on the situation. So the A says shapes their leadership style depending on the situation. So this one, the answer is A straight away. Yes, so once you see the contingency theory, just put it in your mind that it depends on the situation. Yes, so that's A. Now move on to number 20. Number 20 says, what is a transformational leader? What is a transformational leader? Then we have A, someone who is involved in organizational change. B, a leader who provides new ways of carrying out the task of management. C, a leader who inspires the workers to new levels by offering them a vision of a better future. D, a leader who tries to transform his staff by giving them rewards for what they do. Yeah, so for this one, the answer is C, which says a leader who inspires the workers to new levels by offering them a vision of a better future. So when you talk about transformation or transformational leadership, it's more about someone who is thinking about the future. Do you get it? You looking at the future. So you can't talk about transformation without talking about the future. So this one, the answer is C, which says a leader who inspires the workers to new levels by offering them a vision of a better future. Okay, so that's it for number 20. Now let's move on to number 21. Number 21 says, which of the following is much more associated with leadership? A, consistency. B, planning. C, paperwork. D, change. So the answer is change. Leadership is about driving change. So straight away, the answer is D, change. Now let's move on to number 22. Number 22 says, which of the following is not a recognized trait of good leaders? A, task competence. B, ego-based behaviors. C, valuing diversity. D, intelligence. So the answer is ego-based behaviors. Ego-based behaviors are like you thinking about yourself, whereas you're not thinking about your followers. So obviously that can be a good trait of a leader. So it's B, ego-based behaviors. Now let's move on to number 23. Number 23 says Blake and Mouton's managerial grade is based on which two dimensions of leadership? A, people or money. B, people or leadership. C, people or process. D, people or production. So this one is very self-explanatory. The answer is D, which is people or production. So yes, the managerial grade focuses on either people or production or both of them. So yes, now let's move on to number 24. Number 24 says, in the country club management style portrayed by Blake and Mouton's managerial grade, concern for people is A, irrelevant. B, low. C, high. D, middle. So the answer is C. Country club means that you are going to focus a lot on the people. You are going to put your attention on the people, but you are not going to focus on production. You get it? So high concern for people and low concern for production. So the concern for people is C, high. Yes, so the answer for 24 is C. Okay, so that's it for number 24. Number 25 says, the visible aspect of ethical leadership lies in the leader's character, in his decision-making process, in his mindset, in the set of values and principles on which he relies on to make his decisions, and his courage to make ethical decisions in tough situations. A, true. B, false. Yeah, so this one, the answer is true. The visible aspect of ethical leadership talks about all this, his values, his principles, how he makes his decision in tough times and all that. So the answer is A, true. Now let's move on to number 26. Number 26 says, leadership is a collaborative endeavor among group of members and not the effort of a single individual. A, true. B, false. So the answer is A, true. Leadership is not about one person, it's about a group of people, so leaders and followers. So the answer is A, true. Yes. Now let's move on to number 27. Number 27 says, which of the following is not a level of leadership? Which of the following is not a level of leadership? A, tactical leadership. B, personal leadership. C, direct leadership. D, organizational leadership. So this one is tactical leadership. So the levels of leadership, we have personal leadership, we have direct leadership, we have organizational leadership, but there's no tactical leadership. So straight away the answer is A, tactical leadership. Now let's move on to number 28. Number 28 says, which of these is not a characteristic of leadership? A, situation. B, followership. C, vision. D, structure. So this one is structure. So leadership is not about structure. It's management that follows like a strict structure and all that. Leadership is not about structure. So it's not a characteristic of leadership. So the answer is D. Now we move on to number 29. Number 29 says, For Ohio State leadership studies, the perfect leader A combine a focus on the task and the employee. B focuses on the task and getting things done. C inspires workers to aim higher and achieve more. D is concerned about the small details and how to increase productivity. So we had a similar question before. So the answer was A, combine a focus on the task and the employee. So yes, that's A. Now let's move on to number 30. Number 30 says contingency theory is based on the assumption that the ideal leader A shapes their leadership style depending on the situation. B provides clear instructions to the followers so that they know what they are doing. C knows what their strengths are and makes the most out of them. D spends time with their followers and therefore listens and responds to their needs. So we also had a similar question. The answer was A, shapes their leadership style depending on the situation. So like I said, contingency theory talks about the situation you find yourself in. So the answer is A. Now let's move on to number 31. Number 31 says, which of the following is not a contingency theory? A. Path goal theory. B. Fieldler contingency model. C. Ethical theory. D. Cognitive resource theory. So the answer is C, ethical theory. Ethical theory is not a type of contingency theory. So I told you that for the contingency theory, it tells you that it depends on the situation. But ethical theory talks about your morals, values, and all that, anywhere you find yourself, not that it depends on the situation. So the answer is C, ethical theory. Now we move on to number 32. Number 32 says, transactional leadership theory follows a system of reward and punishment for work performed by subordinates. A, true. B, false. So this one is true. So for transactional leadership, once someone does something good, you reward the person. If the person does something bad, you punish the person. Or you don't give the person rewards. So the answer is A, true. Now let's move on to number 33. Number 33 says, which leadership theory is the least preferred co-worker skill associated with A, path goal theory. B, Hesse and Blanchard situational theory. C, Fieldless contingency theory. D, Pygmalion theory. So yes, the answer is Fieldless contingency theory. That's the one that talks about the LPC scale, or the least preferred co-worker skill. So yes, that's C, fieldless contingency theory. So now we move on to number 34. Number 34 says, at what level of leadership does one initiate idea in order to bring transformation to society? A, strategic. B, personal. C, organizational. D, group. So the answer is strategic. So for strategic, you initiate an idea to transform the society. So you are looking at the long term, which is about transformational leadership. So the answer is A, strategic. Now we move on to number 35. Number 35 says, which leadership theory is based upon the belief that great leaders are made and not born? A, contingency. B, behavioral. C, trait. D, Pygmalion. So the answer is B, behavioral. So for the behavioral theory, they talk about the fact that leaders are made, meaning that you can train yourself to become a leader, not that you are born with the qualities. So yes, that's B, behavioral. Okay, now we move on to number 36. Number 36 says, power is to influence, as dash is to change. So you have A, trust. B, ethics. C, vision. D, traits. So this one, the answer is A, trust. Obviously, power and trust go hand in hand. So it's obviously trust. Power is to influence, as trust is to change. So yes, that's for number 36. Now we move on to number 37. Number 37 says, if followers' maturity level analysis reveals that he or she is competent but not committed, what leadership style would a leader have to choose in order to be effective? A, supporting leadership style. B, coaching leadership style. C, directing leadership style. D, delegating leadership style. So this one, the answer is D, delegating leadership style. Delegating leadership style means that the leader is competent and also committed as well. This one, they said the leader is competent, but he or she is not committed. You get it? So if you want the leader to perform effectively, just like the question is demanding, you have to choose the delegating, where the leader is going to be competent and committed as well. So yes, the answer is D, delegating leadership style. That's it for number 37. Now let's move on to number 38. Number 38 says, a leader who uses people-oriented leadership style is likely to have LPC score ranging from A, 73 and above, B, 65 to 72, C, 64 and below, D, 11 to 64. So this one, the answer is 73 and above. If someone is people-oriented, it means their LPC is from 73 and above. If the person is task-oriented, it means it's 64 and below. That's for the C. And if it's both of them, it means it's from 65 to 72. That's for the B. So yes, the answer is A, 73 and above. Now let's move on to number 39. Number 39 says, a leader whose LPC score is 64 utilize what type of leadership style? A, relationship-oriented. B, task-oriented style. C, participatory leadership style. D, laissez-faire leadership style. So this one, the answer is task-oriented style. Like I said, if your LPC is 64 and below, it means you are task-oriented. So the answer is B, task-oriented style. Now, number 40, which is the last question, it says, ordinary leaders create good followers, while extraordinary leaders make dash out of their followers. A. Relationship oriented. B. Task oriented style. C. Participatory leadership style. D. Laissez-faire leadership style. So this one, the answer is C. Participatory leadership style. So we say extraordinary leaders are leaders who are participative. They try to train their followers to also become leaders like them, which is the same as participatory leadership style. Yeah, so that was the last question. So that's it for the section A. If you're able to get all the 40 questions correct, I heard you are going to get 20 marks, which is quite interesting. So yes, so in the next video, we are going to look at the section B. We are going to answer all of them one by one. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends if you think it will be helpful to them. And I'll see you in the next video.